Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of To the Max Outdoors. Today is going to be part one of hopefully a two-part video series dealing with my primary hunting rifle. Now this particular rifle here is a Winchester Model 70 Super Shadow series, and this gun is chambered in Winchester 300 Winchester short magnum. I jumped on the craze in the early 2000s of the short magnum calibers. I've collected a fair amount of them and I really like them, and this 300 Winchester short magnum happens to be my most favorite caliber. I've got a really good load worked up for it. There again, I'm shooting animals 150 yards in, so I worked up a decent load. That being said, this is my primary gun, and I really like the action, and I like the shootability of this gun. But what I fought with these Super Shadow and the Ultimate Shadow over the years, Winchester used what they call a Dura-Touch finish. Now, in the pistol weld part and in the forearm part, Winchester used what was called a Dura-Touch finish on the little dotted areas here on the forearm and back here at the pistol grip part. It was a rubberized, it was supposed to aid in grip. It was a grippy substance. Now, that broke down extremely quick, became super tacky and sticky. It'd stick to your gloves, it would transfer off onto your hands, especially if you got it warm. Your hands would be sticky. It was a bad substance in their part. Somewhere along the line, somebody told me, or I read it somewhere, I used Goop Off. It actually removed all that stuff. Now, there's a lot of handwork involved in it, but it removed it and didn't fade the stock or change the finish at all. But the biggest downfall of these Super Shadows to me is these are supposed to be a blind magazine gun. Well, when they built these stocks, they raised where the floor plate would be, and that happens to hit me. In most scenarios, it hits me right in the palm of my hand, and I don't like the feeling of that. It's kind of sharp edged. I've wore it down over the years because, like I said, this has been my primary hunting rifle for 10 plus years, but it hits me funny in the hand and I just don't like it. Now, I have the Ultimate Shadow series, which is a one-piece floor plate gun, and that is not the issue. So finally, I broke down and I bought a stock from Winchester, inletted for a one-piece floor plate. And I bought an aftermarket one-piece floor plate from a company called Stocky Stocks. I bought it online. They're out of West Palm Beach, Florida. I was really hesitant at first to buy it because you go with factory and aftermarket and usually you got fitment issues. But I found a new in the box factory Winchester or Ultimate Shadow series stock online for 38 bucks. I was hesitant about it, but I ended up buying it, and when I got it, I was really happy with it. Winchester changed their grip, supposedly changed their grip chemical makeup, and supposedly it doesn't get tacky and give you problems like the original ones did. That's to be determined yet, but people have put a bunch of reviews online saying that doesn't happen, so we're going to see. Now, when I got this gun, I measured the inletted part and I sent emails to Stocky Stocks online, and they assured me that their parts were built to the exact tolerances as a Winchester stock. Well, kudos to those guys. Whoever does the machine work for their one-piece floor plates for stockies, they know what they're doing. They got their stuff built. They did an excellent job. As you can see here, that fitment is perfect. The gaps are good. There's really hardly no gap at all, but it doesn't bind up at all either. So good job to the machine company that does it from those guys. And to go one step even further, I have some machining. I've done a good bit of machining in my life. I even took layout glue to the mating surface of this one-piece floor plate, dropped it into this stock, and I've got well over 90% contact on that, which is critical because your forward and your rear action screws bed down through all of that. So I was happy about that. So anybody's thinking about doing a blind magazine conversion to a one-piece floor plate or even a two-piece floor plate, I wouldn't hesitate to use Stockies. They treated me good. I think I have $138 in this, and there's some machine work involved in there. Granted, it's CNC. They write a program and do it, but they figured their stuff out. The floor plate catch has a perfect tension on the screw. It locks up right. It's got the detents built in the right place. All the pins, all the floor plate hinge has a nice smooth action to it. The detent pin, nice smooth action to it. Trigger guard's nice and rounded off. There's no machine edges on it. They did a good job. Now I bought the brushed aluminum finish because I'm more capable of keeping this at a matte aluminum finish with a little bit of Scotch-Brite or a little bit of steel wool. So that's why I bought that finish. So that being said, I'm not a gunsmith by no means. I'm going to try to put this gun back together in the new stock just like I took it apart. Now from the factory, these guns are not pillar bedded and they're not glass bedded through the forearm. They're free floated, as that dollar bill going through there shows us. It is free floated. We're going to duplicate that. Now I've had this action in and out of this stock a bunch of times over the years cleaning it. This gun on the forward of the forward action screw has a lug on the action that beds down into the stock. Winchester's just got a little bit of epoxy down in there to make a 100% lockup on the mating surfaces, and I will duplicate that into this stock, and I'll try to show you how Winchester did it into this stock when I get it apart, but I'm not going to show that on this video. Everybody's got their own technique, everybody's got their own quirks, and I'm going to do it how I'm comfortable with. Now I will say another thing, this gun here has 3 action screws in it. Aft to the trigger guard, forward to the trigger guard, and then forward on the receiver. When you convert over to a one-piece floor plate, you're not going to have that center screw in there. Some people say it's fine, some people say you got to have it, this, that, and the other. I will tell you that this particular gun has given me problems with that middle gun, and it took me a long time to figure it out. You can over torque that center screw and actually crown the barrel, and this gun becomes an 8-inch grouper. I figured that out trial by error. I was really hard-headed about this gun. I shot all kinds of factory ammo out of it, hand loaded a bunch of different crazy stuff for it, and an old guy told me your center screw is too tight at the range one day. Didn't know the guy from Adam shooting. He said, son, you're over torqued on your center one. Now, maybe the guy was a Winchester Model 70 guy and he knew that. I don't know, or maybe he just guessed and got lucky, but damn it, he was right. So I started reading about it. There's no real torque spec for that center screw. It gives you some ballpark torques for the forward and aft one, but I'm not going to go over that in this video either. I'm going to tell you that the forward and aft screws are going to get torqued the same in this stock as they do in this stock. I will take it to the range and I will try different torques and see where it likes it. That's the only thing I can tell you. I don't think there's a set in stone number for them. But we'll move through this process here a little quicker. I do have the bolt out of the gun, by the way, if anybody's wondered. And I do have these bolts loose already. I've been in here. I'm going to lay my bolts out just like they come. There's the forward action, which is a short one. This is the center one, which most people call the forward trigger guard screw. And there's the aft one. These are a 532 Allen head is what they are. I'll go ahead and remove the action from the stock here if we can, without beating stuff up all over the place. Go ahead and lay all this down without banging it around. So there you go. Now, what I was talking about earlier from the factory, right there where my finger is from the factory, Winchester just puts a little bit of resin in there. And the only thing that does is it beds that forward lug. I'm going to say bed, that's probably not the right technical term, but it just seats this forward lug into that stock. Now there again, I'll duplicate that over here. We're not going to do it on this video because I'm not getting into that with people in comments, because maybe I don't do it right, but it works for me. I've done this process before and I've had good results with it. Now I will tell you, when you convert from a blind magazine in this Super Shadow series to a one-piece floor plate, as the Ultimate Shadow series does, everything internally that you need is there. Now, like I said, the magazine well's there and the follower and springer there. Now, going back to the fit and finish of this one-piece floor plate, the floor plate has the integrated spring channel in it. What you have to do, make sure you put your follower in right. You're going to take your spring and run it under the groove that's in there. The spring has a, I can't show you on camera because it's not detailed enough, but the spring has a detent in it, and the floor plate has a detent groove built in it with a channel. Slides down in there. You heard the positive lock. Now it is in place. And that's all you got to do. It's that simple. So, like we were saying earlier, I will well, it won't be glass bed, but I will put resin back onto this forward lug before I take it to the range. There again, factory Winchester Ultimate Shadow stock. The initial fit up is perfect. Go ahead and slide the follower in. Put all that stuff back together. Nice tight fit up, and we'll put my forward action screw back in. Now there's a bunch of different torque sequences to how you install all this stuff. I'm not going to go over that. As you can see, I don't even have a torque wrench in my hand right now. We're just putting things together for the sake of showing you it's not really that big a deal to take a blind magazine gun and convert it into a one-piece floor plate gun. Now I will tell you that I'm not going to gorilla torque these initially. I'm just going to put them in for the sake of being able to show how all this works. So there we go. Now we have took a blind magazine Winchester Model 70 and made it a one-piece. Made it a one-piece floor plate gun. That's simple. That's what we've been looking for, and that's what it works. Follower don't want to work right because the bolt's not in it, but the lockup is nice on the floor plate. It has a nice positive lockup, and now when I shoulder that gun, there is no ridge hitting me in the hand. That is absolutely what we've been going after. So just a little recap. Going over this again. I took a Super Shadow, Winchester Model 70 Super Shadow blind magazine gun. We bought a factory Winchester Ultimate Shadow one-piece floor plate stock and converted it all over. What we had to buy was a stock and the one-piece floor plate trigger guard. It's all integrated in. Seen how easy all that was to go together. We'll put it back up here. Let's see if we maintained. We did. We maintained our float. That's perfect. All right, that's pretty simple. Like I said, that's a basic little rundown of how simple it is to create a floor plate gun out of a blind magazine gun. The next video on this gun, we'll have it at the range with a torque wrench, and we're just going to shoot factory loads out of it because we're going to make sure that it works. So if if you're watching this video, then that means my range time went good and I was happy with the gun. So thanks for watching to the Max Outdoors.